Hardcore World of Warcraft Classic has seen a definite rise in popularity in the last few months, with many new and veteran players wanting to give it a go and see if they can pull it off. Playing World of Warcraft Classic in a hardcore or Iron Man mode comes down to reaching the level cap 60 without dying. There are plenty of other rules to keep in mind as well, usually, but generally it just comes down to staying alive during your long journey to 60. And this isn't as easy as it sounds at first glance, especially if you've never actually played vanilla content. It isn't like in retail where you can mow down packs of mobs without taking any damage, like a Hulk on steroids. Vanilla or classic content is often much more punishing, and you really have to pay attention because pulling one too many mobs can easily result in you dying, which usually would just mean having to run back to your corpse. If you're doing a hardcore challenge, this means your run is over permanently. Today I'm going to go over 3 prominent options you have to attempt this challenge to level 60. You can stick to the Blizzard Classic Era realms, or go to private realms which offer hardcore challenges, Turtle WoW and Duskhaven specifically. I'll give an overview of the rules of each realm's hardcore mode and its pros and cons, so you can decide which one you want to give a go. Before we get started, if you're interested in this kind of content and want to see more of it, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps a lot. Let's start with Blizzard's Classic Era servers, the official way to do hardcore, but which isn't without flaws whatsoever. First thing to note is that while you are playing on Blizzard's official servers, there is currently no actual hardcore mode. Yes, you can get the Soul of Iron cosmetic buff when you play on a Season of Mastery realm and you've never died, but this is basically just a little extra you get from playing the game without dying. There are no other requirements. For example, you can get boosted, get the best gear possible, and what's worse, when you die, you only lose your opportunity to get this little buff. You can still play your character. Defeating Ragnaros, Onyxia, Khotun, and Nefarian without dying will display a survivor text in the tooltip, so I guess there's that. Because Blizzard doesn't provide players with what they want, an add-on has been created to fill this void, as usual. There's also a website which explains the add-on's rules, community, and so on. The Hardcore add-on basically enables the Iron Man mode for your character, and it looks like this. As you can tell, apart from reaching level 60 and not dying, you can choose to go for a lot of other achievements, such as never using any pet other than your imp as a warlock, only playing in first-person view, never equipping an item you haven't crafted yourself, and so on. You can go really crazy here, and I'm sure many players are doing just that, because it's pretty fun to try and get as many achievements as possible. In exchange for all this craziness, you can get points, which get you prestige among the hardcore community, but no special titles or mounts or anything of the like. Your name will be up on the hardcore leaderboard, seen here. As you can tell, there are quite a few people who have made it to 60 with multiple characters. Crazy bastards. Anyway, the add-on imposes the following rules. You can use gear that you can find or craft, but you cannot use the auction house, mailbox, or trade other players. When you die, you have to delete your character. This is on the honor system though, so I guess you can just choose to not do that and keep playing it anyway. Some abilities are forbidden, such as Warlock's Soulstone, Shaman's Reincarnation, Paladin's Divine Shield plus Heartstone, and you can't use the item Light of Elune, which makes you immune to all damage, plus Heartstone. You can group with random people in the open world. However, you can do one dungeon run per character, but only with other hardcore players, and everyone has to be in the correct level range. You do have the option to level as a duo or trio, but you have to follow the rules of the add-on, such as always logging on together, staying in the same zones, and if one of you dies, the others have to delete their characters as well. While it isn't required, most hardcore players do so on the same realm, to form a sense of community. Bloodsail Buccaneers for NA and Hydraxian Waterlords for EU. Many streamers and content creators are flocking to these servers and trying out the hardcore challenge, so there's definitely a community for it. And when you play on official servers, which you pay for, means you can expect a decent level of quality of service and stability. Alright, so while Blizzard's own hardcore mode is dogshit, using the add-on makes the hardcore challenge on Classic Era realms actually really viable, challenging, and often pretty fun. But you do have to keep in mind that you're playing on normal Classic realms, which means the same old stuff since 2004. 8 races and 9 classes in total, poor mana regeneration and often weird itemization, no custom quests or zones or anything of the like. The only big difference is that the UI and the interface options are more modern, and there are loads of add-ons you can use to customize your playstyle, something that isn't always the case with the other options we'll talk about now. Turtle WoW is one of the most popular classic private realms currently up and running, and has been up for many years. It's based on a vanilla core, but has added tons of custom zones, some professions, goblin and high elf races, some abilities, mounts, titles, achievements, and minor class changes. It's very much Vanilla Plus in the true sense of the word, and has attracted thousands of players and is still going strong. It also offers a hardcore mode with the following rules. When you die, the game ends. After 60 seconds, you'll be logged out, and you cannot log back in. No relying on the honor system here. When you're dead, you're done. This includes deaths because of connection problems, bugs, or any other reason. You will, however, be displayed on the scoreboard if your character was above level 10. You can trade items and gold with other hardcore characters, as long as you're within a 5 level range of each other. Of course, you can circumvent this by using appropriate level middlemen. Apart from that, you cannot trade, buy from the auction house, or get mail with attachments. When you do reach the max level, you get rewarded with the title Immortal, the Immortal Champion's Charger mount, and you'll be up there on the scoreboard. And as you can see here, more than 11,000 people failed so far, and close to 1,800 succeeded in getting to 60 without dying on Turtle WoW. Personally, I've currently only made it to level 23 here before biting the dust due to a combination of hubris and an unfortunate patrol. And as you can see, many players died at level 59, which must suck so much more. Anyway, starting the hardcore mode on Turtle WoW requires you to talk to the NPC, Mysterious Stranger at level 1, and accepting the quest Stay a While and Listen will automatically enable it. Be warned, as it cannot be turned off. All items in your bags, bank, and mailbox will be erased. You'll automatically be put into a guild with other hardcore characters, but you can leave if you want. Turtle WoW uses a vanilla core, so leveling goes pretty slowly, and mobs are dangerous as usual, but you can speed this up by taking advantage of tents, which rapidly grant you rested experience. There aren't many add-ons you can use for Turtle WoW, which in my opinion really gives it an old school, even clunky vibe. It's fun and challenging, but be prepared for a long journey, something many people are looking for. Moving on to the last option we'll talk about today, Duskhaven. Duskhaven is a Vanilla Plus realm where I'm currently spending most of my playtime because I think it's really awesome and fun. I've made several videos about it, so you can check them out if you want. And here's Duskhaven in a nutshell. It's Vanilla Plus, so capped at level 60 and the Vanilla Blizzard content, but uses a Wrath of the Lich King core, which means basically all classes and specs are viable, resource generation is better, the talent trees are larger and more optimized, and the general gameplay is much smoother than in true vanilla/classic, and so on. There are Mythic Plus dungeons, custom raids, custom pseudo classes such as the Monk, Tinker, Demon Hunter, Stone Warden, and the Bard. In addition, Blood Elves and Draenei are options to play as well. It's a true passion project and has seen a steep rise in popularity lately, which definitely brought about some severe issues with lag and disconnects, but those seem to be largely mitigated now. Like Turtle WoW, Duskhaven offers a way to enable hardcore mode by talking to an NPC at your starter zone at level 1. Accepting the quest, Depths of Despair, will give you the following debuffs. 50% less experience, you deal 30% less damage, you take 30% more damage, healing effects are reduced by 25%, and of course, once you die, it's game over. You cannot log back in. This may seem severe, but remember it's a Wrath of the Lich King core, where mobs are generally weaker and characters stronger, and the experience gained is increased, so these debuffs are meant to basically put you back on the same playing field as on Turtle WoW and Classic era. Other than that, you can trade and buy things from the auction house if you so desire, and grouping up is possible as well, but you technically cannot use the LFD tool. Dying means your character is dead forever, and with those debuffs it's still very possible to find yourself staring at your ghosts rather rapidly, as I've discovered to my dismay and, if I'm honest, shame. Anyway, if you make it to level 60 without dying, you get the Hellblazer title and a big Murloc mount. It's pretty cool. Now, before wrapping this up, let's tackle the issue of PvP. On none of those three options are you required to turn on PvP. Although on Turtle WoW you get a small experience buff when you do so, and on Duskhaven this used to be the case as well, but it's currently disabled. So I would advise you strongly to not engage in PvP at all, because it's so easy for a random level 60 to one-shot you, ruining your run. Additionally, there's also the matter of what comes next to consider. If all you want is to do a hardcore challenge to level 60 and leave it at that, not touching your character once you hit your goal, you can ignore what I'm about to say next. However, if you're also interested in doing endgame content, I strongly feel Duskhaven is by far the better option here. It offers the same rates as normal classic era, so Molten Core, Onyxia, Blackwing Lair, and so on, but also adds heroic versions, optional bosses, and even custom raids, such as Ashara Crater and the Emerald Dream. All raids are currently scaled for 10 to 15 players. And if you don't want to raid, you can just go for smaller scale content, more specifically their Mythic Plus system, which I've explained in a previous video. Turtle WoW is more focused on the journey than the destination, with plenty of lower level custom stuff, and as such the endgame content isn't that impressive. Now, to end the video, let's go over a small comparison. Which offers the most fun and which is the most hardcore of hardcore modes? Classic Era, Turtle WoW, or Duskhaven? Regarding the damage you take on each server, I set up a simple test. Create a level 1 Tauren Warrior and see how hard they get hit by a level 1 Planestrider, how much XP they get from it, and how hard a level 4 Boar hits them. The level 1 Planestrider hits the same on every server, between 1 and 2 physical damage, and gives the same amount of experience. Of course, it's only level 1, so not much variety is possible here. The level 4 Battle Boar, however, does show some difference. On Classic WoW, it hits for 4 to 5 physical damage and crits for 9. On Turtle WoW, 3 to 4 physical damage, crits for 10, and also does crushing blows for 7. And finally, on Duskhaven, it only hits for 3 physical damage and crits for 6, so pretty obviously the lowest, even with the hardcore debuffs active. Basically, on Classic WoW, mobs on average hit the hardest, and on Duskhaven the weakest. Regarding the fun versus challenge factor, well, Classic Era's hardcore add-on offers a lot of fun achievements you can strive for, which spices it up for sure. It has a leaderboard and an active community, pretty strict rules, a true classic core, and the encompassing dangers. But dead isn't dead. You just fail your challenge. But you can keep playing your character if you so desire. The stakes are much lower. In addition, there aren't any real rewards, at least not from the official Blizzard side of things. This might change later on when Blizzard releases their official hardcore challenge realms, which I'm sure is in the works. Currently, the community on the Classic Era realms is pretty large, with many popular streamers making their way there. So if that's important to you, the choice is obvious. Duskhaven, on the other hand, does offer actual rewards, but is a lot more under the radar and lacks a lot of the stricter rules that most other hardcore challenges impose on players, such as on Turtle WoW. You can still trade or get sent items, gold and bags through the mail, buy stuff on the auction house, get a mount at lower level, and group up. In addition, several elite quests aren't elite anymore and there are custom quests aplenty, so it's easier to level up in zones around your level. Talent trees and classes in general are stronger, but this is mitigated somewhat by the severe debuffs imposed on you as a hardcore character. And if you die, you're dead forever, which is something lacking in the Blizzard Classic Era realms. The endgame content is also much more developed, with a lot of custom stuff. And finally, Turtle WoW also offers rewards, has stricter rules, custom zones, and several other smaller changes. And like Duskhaven, it also enforces the dead is dead forever policy. There's an official hardcore guild, and a lot of people who are really into it, which creates a strong sense of community. Its leveling rate is actually on par, if not faster than that of a hardcore character on Duskhaven, but the characters are noticeably weaker, just like on Classic Era. In summation, I've played hardcore characters on all three of these options, and in my opinion, Duskhaven is by far the most fun, due to smoother and more fun gameplay, more classes, races, and pseudo-classes. And Turtle WoW is probably the hardest, due to being more vanilla-like and actually enforcing the dead is dead rule. Classic Era is probably the most popular due to being official, but apart from some personal status achievements on some add-on, it doesn't seem to offer much to players for now. Blizzard has made some noise about potentially setting up their own true hardcore realms and challenges, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But currently, if you want to try a real hardcore challenge and get some rewards for it, I would suggest trying out Turtle WoW's long but engaging journey to 60. And if you want to have more fun and generally better gameplay with fun endgame content as well, go for Duskhaven. Alright, that's all I've got for today. I'm curious to hear about your thoughts. Have you attempted a hardcore challenge yet? How did it go? If not, which of these options sounds more appealing to you? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching and see you in the next video.